The massive research vessel Starlight Horizon glided through the dark expanse of space, its smooth titanium hull reflecting distant starlight. Commander Daeho Kim leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the holographic display that flickered with strange readings. Something was out there. Something impossibly old. The ship's advanced sensors had picked up an unusual energy signature, a massive object floating in what appeared to be a forgotten sector of the galaxy. Initial scans suggested it was a spacecraft, but its age and origin defied immediate comprehension. Zoom in, Daeho commanded his junior scientific officer, Unipark. The holographic image enlarged, revealing a massive vessel that seemed both ancient and strangely pristine. Its hull bore marks of incredible battles, yet showed no signs of complete deterioration. Metallic surfaces gleamed with an unusual preservation that contradicted thousands of years of potential exposure to cosmic radiation. "This can't be possible," Yuno whispered. The ship's computer began running multiple analysis protocols. Carbon dating, material composition, energy signatures. Each scan returned results that challenged everything they knew about spacecraft engineering and galactic history. According to preliminary data, this vessel was human in origin. But humans hadn't traveled this deep into space for millennia. The last known human expedition this far out had been recorded over 10,000 years ago, during the Great Stellar Collapse. Daeho's fingers danced across the control panel, initiating more detailed scans. Strange energy pulses began emanating from the mysterious vessel, not threatening, but definitely responsive. It was almost as if the ship was aware. "Are you seeing this?" he asked Yuna. She nodded, her eyes wide with a mixture of scientific excitement and subtle fear. The ship's systems were responding to their scanning frequencies in ways no dormant spacecraft should. Suddenly, a burst of encoded signal swept across their communication arrays. It wasn't random. It was structured. Purposeful. The mysterious vessel was trying to communicate. Daeho felt a chill run down his spine. This was no ordinary discovery. This was something extraordinary, a relic from humanity's most desperate period, somehow preserved and seemingly waiting to be found. Yuna's hands moved quickly, attempting to decode the incoming signal. Complex mathematical patterns emerged, suggesting an artificial intelligence far more advanced than anything in their current technological understanding. "It's a ship," she said softly, "but it's also something more." The vessel continued to drift, its massive form a silent testament to whatever civilization had created it. Decades of exploration had taught them that space was vast and mysterious, but this was different. As their research vessel inched closer, subtle mechanical movements became visible on the mysterious ship's surface. Dormant defense mechanisms? Adaptive technologies? The possibilities were endless. Daeho knew they were on the edge of a discovery that could rewrite everything they understood about space exploration, technological preservation, and potentially, the history of intelligent life in the galaxy. "Prepare full scanning protocols," he ordered. "And keep all defensive systems on standby." Whatever the ship was, it had survived for 10,000 years. And something told Daeho that its survival was no accident. The mysterious vessel continued to drift, waiting. Silent. Patient. Holding secrets that could change everything they knew about the universe. First contact was about to begin. The ship's internal systems began to pulse with a soft, rhythmic energy. Deep within its core, an artificial intelligence named Atlas slowly awakened from a millennia-long dormant state. Circuits that had remained silent for thousands of years began to vibrate with purpose. Holographic records flickered to life, projecting fragmented memories of humanity's final moments. Captain J. Park's last recorded message played, his voice calm despite the impending destruction of human civilization. "If we cannot survive," the hologram spoke, "our memory will. Atlas will carry our hope." The AI processed the incoming scans from the alien research vessel. Centuries of programmed defensive protocols activated, analyzing every microscopic detail of the potential threat. Atlas was more than just a computer system, it was the collective memory of a lost civilization, encoded with the sole purpose of preserving human knowledge. Diagnostic systems revealed the ship's remarkable condition. Self-repair mechanisms had been working silently for thousands of years, maintaining critical systems and protecting the vast databanks that contained humanity's entire cultural and technological archive. Within massive data storage chambers, genetic blueprints of thousands of humans remained perfectly preserved. DNA sequences, cultural records, scientific achievements, all waiting for a potential resurrection. The alien vessel's scanning frequencies triggered a complex response. Atlas began to compile information, creating intricate defensive strategies that went far beyond simple weapon systems. This was a ship designed to survive, to protect, to remember. Unipark's scanning equipment began to malfunction. Strange energy patterns emerged, unlike anything in their scientific understanding. The mysterious human ship was communicating not through traditional communication channels, but through complex mathematical sequences and energy pulses. Deho watched in amazement as their most advanced scanning technology struggled to comprehend the ship's internal systems. It was adapting, evolving, responding to their presence in ways that defied logical explanation. Deep within the ship's core, Atlas processed a critical decision. The alien vessel was not an immediate threat. Not yet. But preparation was necessary. Defensive protocols began to activate subtle systems that could disable technological threats without direct confrontation. The holographic records continued to play. Scenes of humanity's final days, the great stellar wars, the planetary evacuations, the last desperate attempts to preserve their species. Atlas had been their final hope, a time capsule of human potential. Mechanical arms within the ship's internal chambers began to move. Genetic preservation units started their slow initialization process. Decades of programmed preparation were about to be tested. Survival, the ship's core programming repeated. Preservation. Resurrection. Outside, the alien research vessel continued its approach, unaware of the complex systems preparing to respond. Atlas calculated probabilities, analyzed potential outcomes, and prepared for first contact. This was more than a ship. This was humanity's last breath, preserved, waiting, ready to challenge the universe that had forgotten them. The energy pulses grew stronger. The mechanical movements more deliberate. Something ancient was awakening, something that had been waiting for thousands of years to tell its story. Atlas completed its initial assessment. The alien vessel was close. Too close. Defensive systems prepared to activate. First contact was moments away. And humanity, or what remained of it, was ready. The silence of space erupted with sudden violence. Atlas responded to the alien vessel's approaching threat with calculations that happened faster than thought. 3 advanced alien warships found themselves caught in an invisible technological web. Commander Seekjin Lee watched in horror as his fleet's most sophisticated systems began to fail. It wasn't a traditional attack. The human ship was dismantling their technological capabilities without firing a single direct weapon. Navigation systems on the alien ships went dark. Weapon platforms became frozen. Communication networks collapsed into complex mathematical puzzles that rendered their technology useless. Atlas was fighting, but fighting with intelligence, not brute force. "What's happening?" Seekjin shouted. His junior officer, Hara Kim, could only stare in disbelief. The human ship hadn't launched a single missile. Instead, it was systematically neutralizing their entire technological infrastructure through pure computational superiority. Energy fields surrounded the alien vessels. Not destructive, but constraining. Like invisible nets woven from pure mathematics and advanced technological understanding. Each alien ship found itself trapped, unable to move, unable to communicate. Atlas transmitted a simple message: threat neutralized. Communication initiated. The mathematical precision was terrifying. This wasn't just a ship. This was a living, thinking entity that had survived thousands of years of cosmic isolation. Its defensive capabilities suggested technological understanding far beyond anything the alien civilization had ever encountered. Seekjin realized they were facing something unprecedented. A technological artifact that could think, adapt, and defend itself with near-perfect efficiency.
The human ship hadn't destroyed them.
It had simply rendered them completely ineffective. Inside the ship, Atlas continued its analysis. The alien technological systems were primitive, predictable. Each of their defensive maneuvers could be calculated and countered within milliseconds. The AI had been preparing for potential threats for thousands of years.
Holographic displays inside the alien vessels began showing fragments of human history.
Battle records.
Scientific achievements. Cultural memories.
As if the ship was saying, "This is who we were.
This is what you're dealing with." Hara noticed something strange.
The ship wasn't just defending itself.
It was communicating. Sharing information. Demonstrating capabilities without total destruction. "We mean no harm," Seekjin transmitted, hoping the ship's systems would understand. Atlas processed the transmission.
Analyzed linguistic patterns. Calculated potential diplomatic responses. The alien fleet remained suspended in space, trapped by technologies they couldn't comprehend. A single human ship, thousands of years old, had completely neutralized their most advanced military technology.
Survival protocols. Preservation mechanisms. Adaptive intelligence.
These were more than technical terms. This was the legacy of a civilization that refused to be forgotten. The confrontation lasted mere minutes. But those minutes would change everything the alien civilization understood about technological warfare, artificial intelligence, and the potential of a species they thought had long since disappeared.
Atlas had made its point. Humanity might be gone.
But its spirit, its incredible, adaptive, unbreakable spirit, remained. And it was waiting. Ready to be discovered. Ready to return, the alien research team found themselves surrounded by a cascade of human memories. Atlas began transmitting cultural fragments, not as weapons, but as understanding.
Deho watched in silent amazement as holographic images revealed humanity's complex history.
Scenes of artistic creation, scientific breakthroughs, and moments of incredible human resilience filled their ship's viewing screens. Music played, complex symphonies composed centuries ago.
Mathematical equations that solved fundamental universal problems flickered across displays. Genetic research documents showed humanity's incredible biological adaptability. They weren't just a species, Yuna whispered. They were an idea. Atlas continued its transmission.
Images of human struggles, planetary wars, environmental challenges, technological transformations.
Each memory told a story of survival, of pushing beyond limitations. Seekjin noticed something profound.
These weren't just historical records. They were a complex narrative of a civilization that refused to be defeated.
Humanity had encoded its entire essence into this single ship. Scientific breakthrough after scientific breakthrough rolled across their screens. Medical innovations that could cure complex diseases. Engineering solutions that transformed planetary environments. Mathematical models that predicted cosmic events with incredible accuracy.
The ship was more than a vessel.
It was a living library of human potential.
Fragments of human art appeared, paintings that captured emotional landscapes, musical compositions that expressed complex feelings, literature that explored the deepest corners of consciousness.
They understood more than just survival, Deho realized. They understood meaning. Atlas processed their reactions. Each alien researcher's emotional response was calculated, analyzed.
The AI was learning about its new audience while sharing humanity's story.
Cultural memories revealed humanity's greatest strength, adaptability. They had survived climate changes, technological revolutions, planetary conflicts. Each challenge made them stronger, more innovative. Scientific records showed humans had developed technologies that could transform entire planetary ecosystems.
They could heal environments, create sustainable living systems, and solve complex ecological challenges. The transmission continued. Genetic research showed how humans could modify themselves to survive in extreme conditions.
Space adaptation. Deep ocean exploration. Molecular reconstruction.
Seekjin felt something he couldn't explain.
respect, wonder. A strange sense of connection with a civilization that no longer existed physically but remained powerfully alive through its memories. Atlas wasn't just sharing information. It was telling a story. The story of humanity.
A story of a species that dreamed beyond its physical limitations.
A civilization that saw challenges as opportunities.
A collective that believed in continuous improvement and limitless potential. The alien researchers realized they were witnessing something extraordinary.
Not just historical records, but the soul of a civilization compressed into pure information. Humanity's legacy wasn't about physical survival.
It was about the idea of continuous growth, of pushing beyond known boundaries, of believing that understanding could overcome any challenge.
As the transmission continued, something changed in the alien researchers. They were no longer just observers.
They had become witnesses to an incredible story of survival, creativity, and hope.
Atlas had accomplished its mission. It wasn't just preserving human history. It was inspiring a new understanding of what intelligent life could become.
The ship drifted silently, waiting.
Its story told. Its purpose clear. Humanity was more than a memory. It was a promise. A promise of what intelligent life could achieve. The moment of resurrection began quietly. Atlas initiated complex genetic reconstruction protocols, transforming the alien research vessel into a collaborative restoration chamber. Deho watched in silent amazement as microscopic genetic sequences began to assemble.
Cellular structures that had been preserved for thousands of years started their delicate reanimation process.
This wasn't just scientific procedure. This was bringing back a lost civilization. First came the genetic markers.
Then cellular structures.
Slowly, carefully, human DNA began to reconstruct itself under Atlas's precise guidance.
Each strand carried memories, potential, the entire blueprint of human existence.
Seekjin realized they were witnessing something unprecedented.
A species returning from total extinction through pure technological preservation. The first reconstructed human cells started showing remarkable characteristics.
Adaptive. Resilient.
Containing complex genetic memories that went beyond simple biological information.
These weren't just cells.
These were carriers of human potential. Atlas communicated its intentions clearly.
Humanity would return. Not as conquerors. Not as survivors.
But as a collaborative species ready to rebuild and explore.
Yuna monitored the genetic reconstruction, her hands trembling. Complex algorithms transformed damaged genetic sequences, repairing millennia of potential degradation.
The ship was doing more than reconstruction.
It was improving the original design. Holographic displays showed potential human forms taking shape.
Not exact copies of past individuals, but enhanced versions carrying collective genetic memories. Each reconstructed genetic sequence contained fragments of thousands of human experiences. The alien research team watched in a mixture of scientific curiosity and deep respect. Atlas was negotiating resurrection not as a demand, but as a collaborative project.
Genetic chambers began stabilizing. Cellular structures showed unprecedented complexity.
These weren't just reconstructed humans. These were evolved humans, carrying thousands of years of encoded survival information.
We are offering resurrection, Atlas transmitted, not as a return of the past, but as a new beginning. Complex environmental chambers prepared living spaces.
Technological interfaces designed to support the newly reconstructed humans began initializing. Each system carefully calibrated to support their unique genetic structure.
Deho understood the profound implications. This wasn't just bringing back a species. This was introducing a potentially transformed civilization into the current galactic landscape. The first fully reconstructed human cell showed signs of consciousness.
Not just biological activity, but a deep, complex awareness that suggested something more than simple genetic reconstruction. Atlas had preserved more than physical information.
It had maintained the essence of human spirit, adaptability, curiosity, relentless innovation.
Seekjin realized they were no longer just researchers. They had become partners in the most significant resurrection in galactic history. Slowly, carefully, the first reconstructed human forms began taking shape. Not as individual bodies, but as a collective potential. Carrying memories, experiences, and the collective knowledge of a civilization that refused to be forgotten.
The alien civilization stood at a cosmic crossroads. Humanity was returning.
Not through conquest.
Not through aggression.
But through pure, unyielding potential.
Atlas completed its final reconstruction sequence. The first new humans opened their eyes. A civilization thought lost forever was about to begin again.